Thank you for being here, Brian. Good to see you as always. Great win. I thought we weren't perfect, but for us to have 29 assists on 35 baskets, that's about as good as you can do. We shot 60% for the game, hit 17 threes. I thought we did a really, really good job, except for the last 2 minutes of moving the ball and making that extra pass. That's how we always want to play, unselfish ball. And it really was, and that's what, the shooting numbers show that. So those were assisted threes, which means we're attacking and the defense is collapsing and we're kicking out. So really proud of that. I think we probably even, I thought Jenna Johnson and Alyssa Peely were really good today. If you look at their shooting numbers, their percentages, we got to find ways to get them more touches, I think, down low. Great game. Solid win. I thought Southeastern Louisiana played hard and scrappy, and rarely do we get beat on the offensive boards. We did, so that's something we're going to clean up and work on. But overall, just a great team win.
Offensive rebounds was actually my first question. You ended up giving up 7 offensive rebounds in the first quarter.
We sure did.
And then finished at 11 for the game. Was there an adjustment made that limited those offensive rebounds?
I mean, we talked about it. I think, when you're playing teams that maybe have, quicker first, they were very athletic, and we were waiting to see if the ball was missed and then trying to rebound, and we were slow to the ball, and just kind of soft on that. So we have to fix that. We want to continue winning. Our next 3 games we're playing Power 5 schools and that are just as big as we are, and we can't rely on that. We've got to be really, really physical and improve on the rebounding. So that's going to be honest, the point of emphasis moving forward.
Kennedy, you get off to a great start tonight. I think you were 5 of 5 in the first half. You hit your first 7 shots. For you, when you're feeling it like that, what's the mindset like when the ball swings to you and it may not necessarily be a good shot, but you're feeling good? How do you stay within the offense instead of deciding that, hey, I want a heat check, let's throw a shot up?
Right. I think an emphasis for all of us is just playing Utah basketball, and that includes working the ball around until we get the shot we want. And I feel like anytime, to be honest, coming off a screen, I could shoot it, but that's not Utah basketball, and that's not how I want to play and get my teammates involved. They're all great shooters, great players. So I think just knowing that, G got off to a great start today, and then that just made the basketball feel huge for everyone, I think. I know when we all get excited for each other, that makes my shot feel better. It makes G's shot feel better. It makes everyone's shot feel better. So I think G got us rolling today with that, and then just made my job easier too.
And Kennedy, I also wanted to ask about on-court chemistry. Sitting courtside tonight, I was able to observe, especially on fast breaks and things like that, you and Alyssa seem to have a really good unspoken chemistry, but not just you, the team as a whole. There was a lot of communication without any type of words at all in the flow of the game. How, through practices and things like that, how have you as a team established that, and how much does it help?
Yeah, I think you said it. Just in practice, that's what we work on, whether it's 2-on-2 and we work going through those pick and rolls, or defense being able to rely on each other, and that, for example, that our help will be there. I think just repeating things like that over and over again in practice, when it comes game time, you don't have to think twice about it. So just knowing where everyone's going to be at defensively and offensively, and then when we can just be excited for each other, it makes basketball so much fun. I think especially the last 2 games we've played, everyone's been so excited for each other, and it just makes basketball so fun that everyone looks forward to it. So yeah, I would credit to practice, and that's how we practice. So when we step on the court, we just have to repeat it.
Coach, you mentioned wanting to get the ball down to Jenna and Alyssa a little bit more in the post. It looked like in the third period there might have been a little bit of a focus, working more inside out rather than outside in offensively.
Yeah, we talked about that at halftime quite a bit, that because like Kennedy said, there were definitely opportunities you could shoot it early, and it's like, well, let's see if we can, we should be able to score. If we move, if we hit 2 sidelines and post up, we're going to get a layup and just having the discipline to not shoot it when it's tempting. It's like, ooh, but I'm open. And, that part is hard as a shooter. But, yeah, and that's on me. We got to come up with some stuff, too, some quick hits to just kind of pound it inside. But, man, those two are really, really effective. 15 for 22 is pretty good. So we've got to do a good job. But, we also were shooting it so well, and they were collapsing on any sort of penetration. And, again, we did a great job of just kicking out and making that extra pass, which led to that many threes.
Couple more quick questions about tonight, and then I had a couple questions about Oklahoma on Wednesday. But third quarter, again, had a few calls go against you consecutively.
Five.
And it looked
Who's
like
counting?
after Lonnie was whistled for an offensive foul on the baseline, you had a conversation with one of the officials. What was that?
Well, yeah, it just felt, and I'll watch the tape. I could be wrong. It might have been, it might not have been those calls. It felt was a block on one end, was a charge on the other kind of thing, the inconsistency, which if it's a block at one end, great, then it's a block at the other end, in my opinion. But I'll watch the film and see. But, they communicated, and I thought it changed after that. But, yeah, that was that. And it kind of took the air out of the gym a little bit, too. Because we had it rolling, and we really had some momentum there, and I thought they were kind of really gassed, and that all that stopped. I mean, it was 5 consecutive possessions, but that's part of the game. There's things you can't control, and that's one of them. So, just having that next play attitude. But yeah, that was frustrating in the moment.
And Nash gets the start tonight in place of Izzy, ends up with 8 assists. How is Izzy health-wise, and what did you think of Nash's performance?
We found out shortly before the game, like 30 minutes before the game, that Izzy wasn't going to be able to go. And so I thought Nash did a great job. When she picked up her 4th foul, it got me a little worried there, that just minutes-wise. But she was great, 8 assists, and I thought, she allows us to play at such a tempo, the way that how quickly she can advance it. And then, Gianna finding out 10 minutes before the game, like, hey, you're going to have to run some one. That's hard. And anytime we put her in, they put in their number one, who did a great job. But just to frustrate G and pick her up full, so that part was challenging. But I thought we did a good job, and hopefully we'll get Izzy back.
Big game Wednesday, Oklahoma coming in, currently ranked 15th in the nation, and this is a team you faced last year, so you've got some experience with them in that 7-point loss. Kennedy, you first. What do you remember from facing Oklahoma last year, and what can you use from that experience on Wednesday?
Yeah, I remember I didn't play that game, but just remember watching it. I felt their gym was loud, and they had lots of energy. Both the fans brought it and the team, and I just think taking that experience, that was a big game for us early on in preseason. So I think we took that game, and it helped us throughout that rest of the season. So I think once we watch the film back and seeing things that we can exploit and do better on our end is what's really going to help us. But I think we're all so excited for that game. Can't wait.
Kennedy talks about the experience from a game like that. Coach, when you're scheduling non-conference matchups, do you look at that type of a thing? How can we get into a difficult environment? Can we face
Absolutely.
Tough teams in non-conference? Because we know what the Pac-12 is.
Yeah, and I think, scheduling is such an art of knowing what your team's capable of, and then knowing what they need to be challenged. Like what is too challenging, what is the right amount of challenge. So our next 3 games are all against Power 5 schools. And Oklahoma will be a fun one. They play a very similar style. They're averaging as many points as we are. They get out and run, and they can shoot it, and they're really athletic and very, very well coached. So it's going to be fun. And we had a 17-point lead going into the 4th quarter there last year, and ended up losing, and that one still really stings. And so just a chance to play them again, and this time at home. And like Kennedy said, they had a rowdy crowd, and it was full, and we need the same thing. And we need everything. We really need this community to come out and see 2 really fun teams to watch, and it's going to be a great competitive game. So I hope we can get repay not only on the court but in the crowd from last year.
As I looked at the box score from last year's game, one thing that stood out to me was 23 turnovers from your team. And, in a 7-point loss.
Thank you, Brian.
Obviously, that's a tough number. But looking at Oklahoma, you talked about the style that they like to play, and I was taking a look at their roster. They're a really long, athletic team, similar to what you faced tonight. But what does a team like that with that type of length do to try and create turnovers, and how can you and your team combat that?
Well, they run kind of a matchup zone that is, if you try to overthink it or get cute with it, they'll turn it over. So of those 23 turnovers, 17 of those were steals by them. So you turn it over, live ball turnover against a running team, you're going to be in trouble. And we had 9 in the fourth quarter. Not that I have all these memorized or anything, but I'm telling you, it still haunts me. So we've got to be really disciplined. And I thought, 14 turnovers tonight's too many. So we've got to clean it up. And but we will. We'll be ready to roll. But and just like us, if you turn it over against us, we're going to run it at you. And very similar. So we, taking care of the ball is critical, and they're very good and aggressive and athletic and deep. They play 12 people, so they'll just keep running people at you. So it's going to be fun. That's what it's all about.
I'm not sure if you've had a chance to watch the film from them this year, but wanted to ask about Maddie Williams specifically and what she brings. She averaged 20 points per game last year. I think she scored 19 against you last season. But just with her size, her ability to handle the ball, the shooting, what's it like matching up with a player like that?
She's special. She's a pro. I mean, she'll be in the WNBA. She's just a matchup nightmare because she's 6 foot tall, but athletic as a guard, and she's developed over her time there a 3-point shot that's really for percentage. So you have to honor that. And her first step is just explosive. She's a talent. She's good. So we'll have a game plan ready. And, we know that. The other thing they have is, one of the best shooters, if not the best in the country. I know her number 30. I'm not good with names, but I think it's Robertson. But she has the Big 12 record for made threes. She's phenomenal. So, but they're not just a two-headed monster, but those two can really pour it on if you let them. So it'll be fun, though. I mean, it's a chance to really challenge our team to lock in on a game plan and a scout, and in a great big environment. And it's the season's not on the line, so it's just a chance to compete, and we want to win. But it's still about us getting better and all that good stuff. So I'm looking forward to it. We'll be ready.
Last question for you, Kennady, as one of the more experienced players on the team, as a leader in the locker room, with a couple of freshmen like Taya Sidbury and Lonnie White, two people who are coming in and playing a lot of important minutes. What do you offer to them experience-wise going into a game against Oklahoma, so that the game's not too big? The moment's not too big for them.
Right. I think just taking what I've learned from being a freshman and then my experience, I've been able to grow, whether it's making a run in the Pac-12 tournament last year or getting to experience big games like Oklahoma or the March Madness tournament. I think there's a few people with me that bring that experience, and just being able to comfort them and throughout practice, I think how we practice brings us a lot of confidence come game time. And so just communicating that with them and how serious practice is and game plans and just locking into our scout. I think just communicating that with them and then just knowing that we trust them. They play really big minutes for us and they do a great job in there. And I think we do a good job at making them feel confident in that way. So just keeping that up. It's a bigger opponent, bigger game, but nothing changes for us or how we play. So I think that's what brings us confidence.
Going back to tonight real quick, Kennady, we know you can shoot the ball. What does it mean to lead the team in rebounding?
Rebounding's fun. That's all. I learned that over. I wasn't really that in high school, and now that I'm in college, started learning that freshman year. That's a role I had to develop, and how exciting that is. Getting a big board is probably one of my favorite things when it comes to a basketball game. Just focusing on that and being able to be a threat from that level too. I think it really helps our team.
Yeah, and rebounding is about toughness and want, and Kennady has those two things more than anybody. So if you tell her you need to rebound, she's going to do it, and she's just tough and more athletic than people give her credit. So she can get up there and she just does a great job. But her tenacity is so valuable.